Welcome to the Scariest Things Podcast, your gateway to the trends and tropes of the horror genre. This is episode 157. It takes 100 movies to make the Scariest Things fritters. We are recapping, giving your insights, going inside baseball to our recent top 100 movie list. I am Liz Williams, and I am joined by
Mike Campbell
and Eric Lee. And once again,
Ian Parker.
Ian, what's in those fritters? What'd you put in those?
Well, how do you feel about raccoon meat?
I knew that was
tasty and
I knew it was that something special.
and baby flesh.
I'm okay
Yes.
with raccoon milk, but I don't know about raccoon
What?
meat.
Wait, what? I must ask.
How do you milk a raccoon?
We can get into that. We can get into that later.
These are secrets from the BLM. Mike goes out in the woods and milks raccoons on the weekend. Hold tight. Come on.
Oh,
That takes. You need like about 20 raccoons to get a gallon, right?
yeah.
Oh, God, we are going already down the wrong path. It's been 1 minute.
How did you guys feel about the top 100 this time around?
I liked it.
Yeah?
It surprised me. I think, I think it was more. It was more diverse than I expected it.
Mm-hmm.
Because we enlarged the jury pool, and so I thought typically popular movies, well-known movies, rise to the top.
Yep.
And I think that's certainly true of the top 20.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we had a lot of interesting selections scattered throughout. Particularly, I think the middle sections were just fascinating. The bottom was it was almost completely new.
Ian, were our two top 20s, our 2017 top 20 versus our 2022 top 20. Say that 10 times fast. Were those
Top 20.
distinctly different?
There were 25 movies that made the list in 2018 that did not make the list this time around.
Right.
Some very well-known movies, too.
But the top 20s for each of those
top
lists,
20s.
were they fairly similar?
Essentially the same.
Essentially the same. That's what I thought.
Yeah, because I think
That's what I thought.
a couple of them dropped out of the top 20. I think by a little bit.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I
Did
think
anything that dropped out of the 2018 top 20 come off the list entirely?
No, the highest ranking movie in 2018 that dropped off the list entirely was Hostel, which was number 57 in 2018 and did not make the list this time.
Gone.
Yeah. What about
Where did Hostel land in the top 515 films?
Ooh, let's look.
Yeah, that'd
It
be
was
a good
in the
one.
next.
This is in the next
It
20.
was within 150
Yeah.
Okay. So
because ones that I was surprised that weren't on the list
Mhm.
were all in that top or that next group of 50.
How'd you feel about the list overall, Liz?
I thought there were some glaring mistakes.
Ooh,
Not mistakes.
we'll get to that.
Things
Yeah.
left out. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
I thought
your-
there were
your
some
number
things
2
that
movie?
let's get
should not have
let's get real.
dropped off the list. But
Do we
hey,
want to dive
the
right
people
into
have
that?
spoken. These people have spoken.
Well, I've got thoughts about things that almost certainly should have made the list,
Yeah.
but didn't make the
Ooh.
list in either year. And I'm like, come on, guys.
Yeah. But did you vote for him?
Ooh.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Okay.
I put lots of points behind these
Yeah.
movies.
And,
All right.
And there's some of them like it's remarkable that Liz is number 2, and it's
A popular movie.
The Strangers is a big time film, and it's
Yeah.
If you can get Stranger Crap at Spirit Halloween Superstore, then it ought to be on the list.
right.
Can
you
you get? Oh
can
yeah, you
all
can get
the-
like
can you get all
the
the
masks. Huh?
Now that's
Yeah.
interesting. Do we think it didn't make the list because it's a very crowded field, the home invasion / stabby kind of movie?
It's one of the
Or-
best ones.
It is.
It's
It
probably.
is.
I mean, it really is the home invasion movie. I mean,
Yeah.
well, I think
Your Next made the list.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
a home invasion.
Yeah.
At 100.
At 100, barely.
Barely.
But
Liz, where would you go? Where would you go between Your Next and The Strangers?
And The Strangers,
Yeah.
I had both of them on my list.
Okay.
well, why don't we?
But I have The
actually,
Strangers at number 2, and You're Next at number 22.
Liz, why don't you go ahead and you want to read?
Okay.
Just let's
I
go through your
do.
top 25.
I have my top 25. I will start at the top, at the tippy top. Martyrs, The Strangers, Poltergeist, Kill List, Exorcist 3, Silence of the Lambs, Saint Maud, Hostel, The Blair Witch Project. I have Safe Haven, which is the segment from VHS 2, Hereditary, Audition, Session 9, Paranormal Activity, Lost Boys, of course, 7, The Descent, Event Horizon, Cabin Fever, Candyman, the 1992 original, Incident in a Ghostland, Your Next, Suicide Circle, Night of the Living Dead, and Scream.
Woo!
Also
Yeah.
the original.
Interestingly, I can't believe that you were the only person out of all the jurors, who picked Cabin Fever.
Yeah.
I love Cabin
Oh,
Fever.
yeah.
I will stand by that movie.
Yep.
The original, because they have already remade
Yes,
it.
they have.
Too soon. Too soon.
Cabin
Yeah.
2 and 3.
I have a
Did
hard
they do
time
3?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Oh, yeah.
watching Cabin Fever.
There's a
Cabin Fever. Yeah. Well, we're going to be doing an episode soon, which is going to be about movies that you can only watch once.
Yeah.
And for some things, one of those triggers is that's a bit too gross for me. And
Oh, is that the trigger, or is
is
the
it-
trigger this sucks?
that's another one. There is
Mike
another one.
Campbell.
Yeah. I mean, that's.
We'll get
that's
into
a-
that episode. Yeah.
We'll talk about that one for next week. But
All right. All right.
But that's
all right.
interesting. So
Don't
so
want to
Liz,
jump. Don't want to jump the gun.
clearly the movie that you wish that had made the top 100 that didn't get on is The Strangers. But do you have a?
I mean, I'm truly surprised that The Strangers and honestly Hostel were not on the list. Kill List also.
Yeah, I was surprised Kill List fell off.
There's
the list.
no Ben Wheatley on the list at all.
Oh,
Which surprised
man.
me.
Oh,
So that was kind of like Mike with House of the Devil from
Yeah.
Yeah.
the previous
You
from
just-
this note
Liz
because there was no Ty West the last time.
just got to
So I'm gonna have to apologize to Ben Wheatley. Like, hey, sorry, you were there last time, but
Yeah.
just
But,
got to
okay,
juice.
falling out of favor, Mr. Wheatley.
But if you were going to say that you actually helped pull one in, what movie would you say that you feel like you got a bunch of responsibility for getting that one into the top?
I would
100?
put The Strangers on.
No. That
Oh.
did make the top 100 that you feel that you would like to take credit for.
Oh, that did?
Yeah.
Oh,
That was because I had it there. I mean, I had Martyrs at the top.
Yep.
I know that I had it. Someone else had it, and I always forget his name. Italian
Luca Pincelli.
director. Yeah, Luca. And I know it was on Chris's list. So I think a lot of people have Martyrs on their list.
Mhm.
Things that
'Cause
I don't know.
If I was going to point out one to you, I think that you helped bring Saint Maud to the table.
Maybe.
Because you had Saint Maud at number 7, and
Yes.
that is the most recent movie to our top
Because
100.
it's
And
fantastic.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm very happy it made the list. It could have gotten lost because of all its. I mean, it was going to be released. It was at festivals, then COVID, then it was supposed to come out on video.
I
then
know.
It didn't.
Remember, it was
So
supposed to
kind
come
of
out.
Shuffled around for like 2 years, and
It was-
then
yeah.
ended up on Epix. So it could have totally been lost, but
Yeah.
it found its audience.
yeah, it did.
Yeah, it was supposed to come out in 2019. It was supposed to come
Right.
out, in fact, the summer of 2019, but we didn't get to see it until
Like January till 2021.
early 2021. I think I saw it on
Yep.
Amazon in like
Yeah.
February of 2021.
It got caught in the backwash of the pandemic and
Yep.
and production studios say, do we need? Were we planning on doing a theatrical release? Oh wait, no, we'd probably better do a streaming release and
Right.
maybe do a late. I think they did a late theatrical release for Saint Maud, or they might have done concurrently.
Yeah, I
or
don't
something
know.
Like that.
Well, Mike, was there a particular movie that you were especially disappointed did not
Or
make the list?
Mike, why don't you run through your list? Do you have your list?
Oh,
handy?
I do. I do have my list. I just found it.
Yeah.
Just found it in
Okay.
this stack of papers over here.
Shuffling. We're very professional.
So I only do it. The analog. It's all analog. Number 1, Dawn of the Dead. Thank you, Foley artist. Number 1, Dawn of the Dead. Number 2, Halloween, the original Halloween.
Which, interestingly,
yeah,
you had didn't have on your list the last time.
Major oversight. Number 3, House of the Devil, which I juiced the list a little bit, which got it on there.
Mm-hmm.
Number 4, Pet Sematary, the original. Number 5, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original. Number 6, Exorcist 3. Number 7, Suspiria, the original. Number 8, The Exorcist, the original. Number 9, Piranha, the original. Number 10, The Shining. Number 11, Black Christmas, the original. Number 12, Friday the 13th, the original. Number 13, The Conjuring. Number 14, The Brood. Number 15, Paranormal Activity, the first one. Number 16, Profundo Rosso, Deep Red. Number 17, Silent Night, Deadly Night, which I heard they're remaking this year, which is a travesty. Number 18, Phantasm. Number 19, Session 9. Number 20, Creature from the Black Lagoon. Number 21, The Ring, not the original, the American remake. Number 22, The Omen, the original. Number 23, Invasion of the Body Snatcher, not the original, the remake. Number 24, Us. And number 25, Return of the Living Dead.
Yeah, and for Mike,
Yeah.
You had your standalone film was The Brood.
Yeah.
You carried the banner for that one, and you carried the banner for Piranha.
Yeah. It was no one else voted for the Brood.
Nobody else had The Brood.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think that is kind of a shocker, just given given Cronenberg is still around. He's still doing it with Crimes of the Century this year. But
Future.
Crimes of the Future, that's right.
Yeah.
Crimes of the Future or Century, yeah. The film was the Crime of the Century because it is. It sucks.
Great.
But The Brood, I think, is probably, aside from The Fly, I think it's probably his best work, and it's certainly it's his most. I think it's his most frightening work.
I think it's his most personal
It's not on the
one
list.
because he was going through a divorce during The Brood, and it's about having children and parenting and in the most disturbing way possible.
Yep.
So Eraserhead made it, but The Brood didn't.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, we had so similar. Actually, yeah. I mean, that's another thing of parenting monstrous children. So, of yours, what are you? Is there one that you would say you were super proud that it's like, you made amends or this time this got this one right and this one made the list this time?
Oh, well, certainly Halloween and The Conjuring. Those are the two massive oversights on my part. But the two that I thought were really kind of neat that they made the list were Return of the Living Dead, because that's just a brilliant film, and then House of the Devil.
Yeah. But you don't have no second thoughts on your list after this?
I do have a second thought on my list because I was going through all of the list. I was going through the top 515, and the one that I keep forgetting, over and over, I keep forgetting it is Lake Mungo.
Oh, yeah.
So good.
Such a brilliant film, and it does show up on quite a few top 100 lists,
including the Shudder Top 100 Moments.
Yeah,
including the top Shudder Top 100 Moments, and it's such a brilliant film. And I'm sure there's something on the list I could ditch in place of that. So check back in 2027.
Yeah, when we do it all again.
And you might just be hearing me talk about Lake Mungo.
Yep.
All right, Eric. What were your top 25?
My top 25. My number one stayed. Which is The Thing, which was the big winner this year by surprising amount of surprising amount of love. I knew that it was popular. I didn't know it was going to be that popular. The Fly, which moved up to number 2, and I had it lower on my list last time, but I moved it up. The remake, not the original. Jaws. Then Dawn of the Dead, which we just saw in beautifully restored 3D.
4K 3D.
Oh, it's beautiful. And and again, reminds me how much you love it because you know it's coming and you still want to see it.
Yep.
Hereditary. Then Evil Dead 2.
Yep.
Alien. 28 Days Later, which was my number 2, kept it on my list. Raw, which I thought got a raw deal because I think it just barely missed the top 100.
Where'd it come in?
Oh, like 105.
Okay.
Something like that.
Okay.
could have. It's like what? So if I moved it, I couldn't have saved it. Even if I put it at my number 1, I couldn't have saved it. But Frankenstein also didn't make the list, which is a bummer. Get Out, Creature from the Black Lagoon, King Kong didn't make the list. It was on the list the last time. It fell out. A Quiet Place, Cat People, 1942. Nobody else. I'd say. I think there might have been a couple of other voters for Cat People, but not enough.
I thought Cat People was 41, and
might be 41.
I'm not being funny.
Okay,
I really do think it was 41.
Well, the old Cat People.
Yes, not the Natasha Kinski,
which I also like. I like them both. You're Next, which I think I might have just with between me and Liz, we managed to get You're Next into the top 100.
Wait, where did You're Next fall on your
100? List? It fell. You're Next is number 16.
Woo. Okay.
Babadook. The Blob didn't make the list.
No Blob.
Other people voted for The Blob, didn't make the list. The Mist made the list. Open Water. I'm carrying the banner for Open Water. Nobody else voted for Open Water. That movie that creeps the shit out of me, and I love it. Ready or Not. Me and Robert, we love Ready or Not, and my fetish with Samara Weaving. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
I think that's an infatuation. Fetish is a kind of a different thing.
Yeah. Okay. Infatuation. Thank you. Clarification. Semantics. Yeah. I don't want you guys thinking I'm kind of off. Right. Then High Tension. Got some other votes, but not enough to get in. Ravenous got some other votes, didn't get in. The Ruins. I stood alone backing. Backing up Carter Smith here.
Great film.
And that was one of those things. That's a film because talking with Carter, I was like, God, I love The Ruins.
I know.
Right.
I know.
Although honestly, if I wanted to go back and pull something back in, I'd probably push The Ruins out. But that's number 24 on my list.
Okay.
And The Autopsy of Jane Doe, which also ended up on the list. So
not Ravenous. You wouldn't push Ravenous off the list.
No,
you would
I love
push The Ruins off.
Because I got Ravenous at 23 and The Ruins at 24.
Right.
Okay. But maybe I don't know. I mean, that's if I'm ask me again in 5 years.
Okay.
We'll see because
2027 just around the corner.
So, and Ian,
yeah,
what have you got cooking? What
oh
was
yeah.
My top 25.
Yeah.
I had The Ring, Frailty, which I will take credit for getting on the list because it was number 95.
Okay.
Just got in.
Snuck it in with my 24 points.
Yep.
Dracula 1931.
Amazing. Dracula got a lot of ballots, but low on a lot of ballots, and it didn't quite make it in.
That's the movie that if I could squeak it in, I'd squeak in Dracula 31 because still to me the definitive rendition of Dracula. Because when you think of Dracula, what do you think of?
Yeah.
Bela Lugosi, you think of the costume,
oh,
right?
The hair, the
not
accent.
Count Chocula.
Not Count Chocula.
What? So how many people voted for Dracula?
Ooh,
lots.
A few.
Yeah,
but like Eric said, low on a lot of lists.
Low on a lot of lists, but it appeared low on a lot of lists.
Yes. So I think it was like 5 or 6 ballots, but it
just low point totals.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Witch, Cabin in the Woods, Insidious, Sinister, Blair Witch Project, The Conjuring, The Fly. Goldblum, Children of the Corn, which I might have been. Surely Children of the Corn got more than just my vote, right?
I think you standing alone with Children of the Corn.
Oh, bummer.
I think you've got, but interestingly, keep going because
Outlander!
Yeah.
Children of the Corn is super good. I will tell you. I rewatched it this last year. It's actually, I know since there's now 8 Children of the Corns.
The Conjuring.
Yes, the Conjuring.
Children of the Corn. Yeah, the Conjuring.
Even though there's 8 of them, it's a good movie. It's a really, really good film.
Great. Silence of the Lambs, Sleepy Hollow, which surprisingly I was not alone in voting for. Session 9.
Yeah.
Halloween.
Pulled Session 9 in.
Yep. Halloween, The Shining, You're Next, A Quiet Place, Alien, Invasion of the Body Snatchers, Ready or Not, Night of the Living Dead, The Mist, The Ritual, and Train to Busan.
So you're riding passenger seat with me on Ready or Not.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I love that.
That's a great movie.
Yep. So
it is a great movie.
Yeah. So that's it. It's. I think one of the things that you can see is that I think a lot of nobody's ballots looked, particularly alike. I mean, there was a lot of. We had some really weird ballots. We had one ballot that it was almost all unique films.
Right.
Was it Crystals?
Crystals, yeah.
When I was looking at them, I was like, I have to check out. I had not heard of probably 20 of the films on her 25
It's like
list.
a lot of these esoteric European horror movies that are just like,
although,
what?
you know, the film that Crystal put on the list, which is actually a badass film, is Who Can Kill a Child?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is a great film. And I wouldn't put it on the top 100, but it's a great movie.
Yeah. I think, and that's the kind of a thing where she has a particular point of view.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like films like Welcome to Mercy, White Coffin, El Juego Diabolico. Diabolico? There it goes. A Black Forest, A Mata Negra, Play Dead, She Who Must Burn, Firstborn, The Compound, The Shrine, The Wicker Tree, The Screwfly Solution, The Incident on Off and On a Mountain Road. Those were both masters of horror films.
You're just saying words at this point.
Yeah,
right?
it's like The Hand That Rocks the Cradle. It's just like, what are these movies?
I know that one.
Yeah.
I've heard of
it's
that.
It's at the Rebecca De Mornay.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's so a fairly conventional film. And she also had Children of the Corn in there, so that might say something.
Right. Oh,
and she had the Halloween, and she had the thing. But she had by far the most unusual list. And then we had a couple of lists that were straight across the board. Also on other people's lists. I think Michael Small had all 25 of his films were on the top 100.
Oh, yeah. Wow. That's right. Yeah.
And which was, so he would have been mayor of Trope Town or Terror Town as it's being renamed.
Yeah,
it's Terror Town.
The new
Terror Town. Yeah.
Because we
sounds
were doing,
scarier.
Yeah. Because I think originally it was about just the doing the tropes, but now it's enlarged.
Yeah.
And the
population's growing.
That's right.
Yep.
The population.
Come on down to Terror Town.
We're going to become a Commonwealth soon.
Right. That's right. We have. We're still trying to get the electoral votes.
Yeah.
But
what you're saying is you're no longer unincorporated Terror County. You're Terror Town.
We're Terror Town.
Yeah, I think, and Ian is a non-voting member of
Terror
Town.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think that that you see that people were willing to go. I mean, almost everybody had one or two, and in some cases a bunch of movies that they were just carrying the flag for, which tells you how broad this the genre is and how terrific it is. And I think it's let's go through some, like, what are the just misses? What came up short?
You guys are gonna love this. Have you heard of a little film called Beetlejuice?
Oh.
And do you consider it a horror movie?
It's a gateway.
Burbs is on the list, so I'm surprised.
It's kind of in that.
That is a pleasant surprise that the Burbs was solidly right there, kind of almost in the middle.
Yeah,
it's in that Burbs, Gremlins,
Ghostbusters.
Ghostbuster. Yeah, it's right in there.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, Ghostbusters. I don't think Ghostbusters got any votes, right?
No, it got 2 or 3 votes, but
did it?
But it finished kind of low.
Yeah. So Beetlejuice missed out. Beetlejuice was 1 point away. So was Behind the Mask: The Rise of Leslie Vernon.
Interesting.
Oh, wow.
Great film.
Wow.
Filmed in Portland, Oregon. In and around Portland, Oregon.
Santa Sangra and Ginger Snaps were both 5 points away.
Oh, Willie. So one of the guys who runs the horror movie massacre trivia show that we do, that's his number one, Santa Sangra, and since he was a legacy voter from 5 years ago, it came in at around 99. But I think that it got a couple more votes this time too. So
he got pushed off the list.
It still couldn't make it.
Pushed off the list.
Try harder.
And then at number 105, a movie near and dear to Eric Lee's heart, King Kong. The OG.
Oh, man. Just
so
barely.
close.
Big fella. Couldn't make it.
So close.
Yeah. Bummer. As eclectic as some of these lists are, I think it is astounding just how many points the top 10 were able to accrue.
Yeah. There's
versus
a big
the ones
difference.
at the bottom. Like the bottom of the list, 52 points is the barrier for entry, right?
Yeah.
And then the top 10 start at 355 and go up from there.
Right.
Yeah, because they ended up on a lot of lists.
A lot of lists.
A lot of people like Halloween.
What were some of the other big
thing.
ticket near miss shockers?
Big ticket. You mean
Yes,
just outside the top 100?
Just outside the top 100. Big ticket ones.
Let's see.
Not weirdo off-ball, not weirdo screwball films that no one's ever heard of.
Raw, very close to the list. The Birds. Ooh, The Birds.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Did not make the list.
I didn't vote for it this time.
Yep.
It dropped off my list.
Here's one, Black Christmas.
Oh,
Yeah.
That was a shame.
Yep. And there's your Dracula coming in at 118.
Yeah.
Oh.
Hostel. And here's one that I was kind of surprised about because I thought this movie was still hot. The 2017 version of It.
Oh, yeah.
Did not make it made it in 2018, but it fell out of favor pretty quickly.
It fell all the way down to 121. It fell a lot.
It fell a lot. Yeah. Why do we think that is?
I think there was a recency bias, and I think the first time around, I think it was fairly fresh because we started the polling in June or July of 2018, and
I'm going to pause.
And was that prior to the second part coming out?
Yeah,
it was.
Yeah,
which was not as great as the first part. Yeah,
it was bad.
I'm going to posit a wholly different theory on that.
What's that?
Okay.
I just rewatched it 2 weeks ago, and there's only a couple really scary elements. It's a well-done film.
Yep.
Super well done. Only a couple scary elements, but it largely plays like an episode of Stranger Things.
Well,
and a lot of people
are we all
like
just
Stranger
Finn
Things.
Wolf-hearted out by now and are tired
well,
of
no,
seeing that shit on our screen?
I just think
that's a verb now.
I just think it's like sort of it's like also ran, right? It's just so. It's like a nice episode of Stranger Things.
It's a harder R version of Stranger Things.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, we were
had
not
they pulled a couple bloody parts and a couple expletives, it could have been PG. Easy.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think you can tear Georgie's arm off and have it be PG.
That's why I said you got to pull a couple bloody parts out. But it's just it's a good movie, and that's about it. It's not a top 100 horror movie.
I do.
We were just excited at the time.
Yeah.
Because it was really good.
And it also made a ton of money. I think it was one of those things where it was like horror movies can still go bank. And I think it is the highest box office earning horror movie of all time, unless you include Jaws. I think Jaws accounting for inflation. Yeah, Jaws might have it top, but it was a huge hit, and it's the kind of a thing where it's like, hey, I encourage it because if we get it, then we get the Black Phone, right? You get some new movies which aren't franchise type things from the big studios, and that's important.
Now, it did not make the list, but we did have 5 Stephen King adaptations make the list. The Mist, Pet Sematary, Carrie, Misery,
The Shining,
and The Shining. Yes.
Yeah, which was number 2.
Well, I accidentally wrote.
What was that other one?
I accidentally wrote The Thing instead of The Shining, and I'm like,
no, that's not
right. It's The Shining. Surprise to anyone?
No.
I'd say those are solid films.
I'm going to say I think that Misery being on the list is shocking because I don't think Misery deserves to be on the top 100.
Whoa!
Yeah, hot take.
Wow.
Again,
what's your problem with Kathy Bates?
Again, I think it's
James Caan is rolling over in his very newly minted grave.
I think it's a good film. It's not a great film. And I think so much of it is predicated around like one scene that people can't
100%.
People can't unsee, but that otherwise it's just a good film and not a top 100 film. All the other ones totally legit.
I think Kathy Bates earned her Oscar. I think she was fantastic. I think she was what the story needed. I do think that it certainly plays like a Stephen King, I'm an author and these are my personal fears kind of things.
But that's like half of Stephen King's
That's
books.
exactly right. I mean, he does like whether it's In the Mouth of Madness, or things like which In the Mouth of Madness is a crazier movie. But I think Misery is a really well done thriller. It has a few moments but it's largely a drama relate. Cause like can James Caan get away, or is she gonna?
Yeah.
Right.
But I mean, if you read the book, you kind of. I mean, the book was a horror title because it's Stephen King. And I think as soon as you put Stephen King's name on it, it becomes a horror movie, even if it's kind of horror or not. People will go horror movie Stephen King.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now here's interesting. So going back to the previous point, which is Stephen King related, the top 10 all-time grossing horror films. We only had 3 of the top 10 on the top 100 list. The number 1 is, as you pointed out, It.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2 is Sixth Sense.
Oh, really?
Number 3 is War of the Worlds, which is not a horror film.
Sixth Sense wasn't on our list.
No,
that was, yeah, that's right. So 4.
Oh,
4.
okay.
I Am Legend.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. World War Z.
Okay.
The Meg. It Chapter 2.
That was a fun movie.
It Chapter 2. Jaws.
Okay.
Then The Exorcist. Number 10 is not The Mummy, but The Mummy Returns.
Oh, the
Brendan Fraser?
Fraser, yeah.
Yeah, the second one.
Those are clearly not adjusted for inflation.
No.
I have my mummy water bottle from Super Yaki right here.
Super Yaki, if you're listening, we'd love to have you
Yes.
as one of our banner
Yes.
folks because we think
love
your
your
stuff
stuff.
is so cool.
We love
It's
your
real.
stuff.
That's speaking of inside baseball. Super Yaki, go check their
Yeah.
stuff out.
Yes.
It's like the only other people who will know what it means is other horror movie fans.
Yeah.
And you're right, they have not been adjusted for inflation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would think the
Exorcist and Jaws would be
Exorcist and Jaws would probably clobber all these films combined.
right. And but that was at a time when the studios would invest in scary movies.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that they still they always will throw some money at it, but whether they will back it with a top flight director and top flight actors, that's really where I think the difference. Sometimes you get these, like we just saw. I think you, me, and Liz, and Ian. I don't know if you've seen Barbarian yet, but that's a 20th century production, and it's like, yeah, that was cool. That was a really good studio produced horror movie.
Great film.
And you can do something.
Liz, did you see that in the theater?
I did.
Oh,
wow.
I did.
Yeah.
I told you. I texted y'all right after. I said, "Go to the theaters."
Yeah, I just couldn't.
But,
I couldn't pry myself loose. But yeah, I just saw it on HBO, and I was like, oh, that was cool. So
yeah.
Speaking
For everybody who's listening who hasn't seen it yet, it's on HBO. Don't read anything.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to see.
Don't talk to your friends. Just watch it.
Yeah, the spoilers could get very because it's not what you think it is.
You want to go in cold.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a lot of fun. So
And then go on TikTok and search for why they named it Barbarian.
oh yeah, I was kind of wondering about that.
I'll tell you when we're offline.
Okay. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
I have a very interesting statistic to throw your way.
Okay.
Ooh, ready.
All right. 4 of the top 5 films in the top 100 came out within a 5-year period.
Oh.
1978 to 1982. 4 of the top 5 films were within that 5-year period. And on top of that, 9 of the top 10 films came out within a 10-year period between 74 and 84.
Interesting.
We are showing the ages of our jury pool here, folks.
I was going to say. Well, do we think that that's solely it? Or is part of it, boy, they just don't make horror movies like they did in the early 80s anymore?
I think it's a little bit of both.
A little bit of both.
I think
I'd lean towards the latter.
Yeah, I think that there are some. I'd say we've seen a lot of really good horror movies since we've been doing this podcast that were brand new to us.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And but there is certainly, what makes it a timeless classic? Because what are we talking about here? So 70. We're starting with Halloween.
No, like
Halloween,
Exorcist,
Alien.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh, the top 10. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
like
Halloween, Alien, The Thing, The Fly.
right. Nightmare. Was Nightmare in our top 10?
Yeah, it was number 10.
That was like
10.
84, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not not in the same age bracket as some of the other people on this podcast, but I still had a few. I still had a few movies from the early '80s on there. The Shining. And the late '70s. Alien was on my list.
Right.
Halloween was on my list. But I recognize that they don't make movies quite that way anymore. But I like them because they feel of an era.
Yeah, for sure, for
like,
sure.
You couldn't in a way, you couldn't make Halloween anymore because Jamie Lee Curtis would just pick up her cell phone and dial 911, and the cops would be there. Right.
Right.
I dig the vintage of it, but I wonder if I had more recent films on my list than maybe some of the older members of the jury did.
Oh, yeah, very possibly.
I had a lot of them on my list that were post 2000 for me.
Sure,
personally.
Sure.
Because I grew up with them.
Well, I know that Robert, who was a high school friend of mine, so he is certainly a contemporary. Mm-hmm. He had a lot of recent movies on there. I think he had a lot of movies from the 2000s. And I like seeing that.
I do too.
Yeah. So,
between 90s and 2000s.
I think one of the other stunners, I think I'm going to agree with Liz. I think Kill List is, one of those ones where it was like, what happened? We had it on the list before, and it fell away. So what were some of the other films that fell off our list?
Ooh, all right. You ready for this? We already talked about Black Christmas, yes.
Yeah.
And that came off. Hostel came off, which I'm not surprised by. I think torture porn has had its day.
I was booing for Black Christmas, not
Hostel.
I boo for Hostel, but even though I love it, I have recently watched it again and have been like, did it age great? No. Is Saw the superior torture porn one? Yes, but Hostel was kind of, that's where the, got that phrase kind of coined for it, and will still always be my favorite.
Because I don't think they knew what to do with Saw when it first came out, and then once you get Hostel out there, and then Therese does, and it's like, okay, so this is a thing now, and it's just, and it's not, we're not going to kill you, we're going to cut you into little pieces and make you feel it, and it's like, I can't watch.
Other big names that fell off, Ju-on the Grudge.
Wow,
but not forgotten. Yep. The Strangers we talked about. A Tale of Two Sisters.
Yep.
Did not make it on this time.
Yep.
Young Frankenstein, one of Eric's near and dear movies.
Yeah. And it probably fell. It was very high on my list the last time, and
could be why it fell off.
I jumped it. I dropped all of my comedies. I took them off the list, and so.
Aww.
But
Eric's very serious now.
Yeah, totally.
He's wearing a beret, a black turtleneck.
Yes.
Taking up
such a drag. Such a drag.
Prince of Darkness fell off.
Okay.
Ichi the Killer fell off.
Also a good one.
Salem's Lot gone. Suicide Circle.
Yeah.
Ooh, Final Destination.
Oh, sorry. I shouldn't show glee for a movie falling off the list. Although I will admit,
it's a good movie.
I will state that actually I watched Final Destination 2 and enjoyed it. I thought
because of the opening scene, which they referenced on Shudder's Top 100, because it is amazing.
It's just insane. That is what
the highway scene.
When you invest in a big budget kind of like that was like practical craziness. I still don't like the you can't cheat fate, and then they have this Rube Goldberg kind of like things that catch you when you're not expecting it. But I love
tricks and traps.
Anyways, Final Destination.
Eric, you specifically want to call out the number of women-directed films this time.
Oh, yeah.
Because we had a few.
Okay. What do we got?
We had 3.
Okay.
Jennifer Kent,
right?
The Babadook.
Yep.
Rose Glass, Saint Maud.
Mary
Lambert, Pet Sematary.
Yeah.
So 3 out of 100.
Got some work to do, folks.
Yeah.
Not great.
But I think we will start seeing.
I'm surprised The Invitation didn't make it.
Yeah,
because that's a beloved little film.
I do.
That's got to be in the top.
200. Let me bring this up then, because I think this is something that as we start forecasting into the future, right? So the trends. So I think we can state that not a lot of women directors on the in this list, but in the last 10 to 15 years, there's a lot more women directors who are actively getting opportunities. Yep. Some of them very good. But here are some movies that I sort of went, well, when we do this again in 5 years, will they be considered modern classics, good enough to make the top 100 or not? And so this is I got anything for Jackson?
No.
Antlers?
Nope.
Oh, no.
Oh, man, I know. I might be standing alone. Aterrados, Terrified.
Maybe.
That was a good one, though.
One Cut of the Dead.
Yes.
Maybe. Yeah.
I think One Cut of the Dead might fall into the Shaun of the Dead kind of.
Right.
Yeah.
Just.
It is like the highest. It's like the highest grossing film ever in Japanese history.
Really?
Yeah. It's like I might be mistaking that statistic, but I remember reading something about that where it was like, yeah, it had because of the way it rolled out and everything, it was just like making insane amounts of money.
That's good for them because they made it on no budget. And
Right,
it looks like
right,
it's
right.
so
And
fun.
it's awesome.
Ian, have you seen?
I love that movie,
Yeah.
but I don't think enough people have seen it that it's going to make the list.
Well, I think,
Right.
but within the horror circles, we'll see because it came at a moment when the zombie genre really was on its way out, and it's kind of. And you went, it's another zombie movie.
You can say dead.
Yeah, dead again.
Undead.
Yeah.
Dead.
All right, so here's some other ones. Now, we just talked about Barbarian, so I threw it on there.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be interesting to see how that reaction is. Baskin.
Baskin, Baskin's not new.
It's within the last 5 to 10 years, but I don't know that enough
10
people have
years,
seen it.
probably.
Yeah. The Black Phone.
Maybe.
I think because that's one that's... Partly because it's a big, wide release, so a lot of people have seen it, and it's good.
And it's Stephen King.
If Black Phone makes it on, something like A Quiet Place or The Conjuring will fall off. It to me they're not apples to apples, but it's that same level of horror.
Yep.
Same vibe.
Yep.
Yeah.
Candyman, the new Candyman.
Yeah.
No, I don't think it will.
I think the love for the original is too strong.
Yeah,
I don't think it'll ever be.
It may fall into the same kind of a thing like Dawn of the Dead. Everybody respects the sequel, but everybody goes back to the original.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right.
Sure.
Right.
Yep.
I got a soft spot for Crawl because I love Aha's work. We'll see. I mean, there's Alligator's not on the list, and Lake Placid's not on the list, and Eaten Alive's not on the
Alligators are underrepresented.
Underrepresented
on our top 100. Piranhas also.
Right.
Sea creatures.
Yes. Yep. I'm doing this for us, but Extraordinary. I would love Extraordinary to be on the list, but I don't think enough people will have seen it.
Yep. And you got to start voting for some comedy again.
Right.
Yeah.
The Feast. Again, another movie that we thought was brilliant, right? But that one, there was enough people see it. And again, a lot of these things enough people see it. Here's one that people will probably have seen a bunch of, and it got a couple of votes this time, but it didn't crack the list, which is Happy Death Day.
Yep.
Where
did that come in on the list?
Well,
Happy Death Day. Was that like it? I want to say that
like
was
in the 400s or something like that. It finished.
I think the problem with something like The Feast, while it's brilliant, is like how many times do you really want to watch The Feast?
Right.
You know what I mean? So is it going to get on our list of kicking something that is near and dear to your heart off? Probably not.
Right.
I equate The Feast with something like Let's Scare Jessica to Death.
Sure.
I think it's a superior story, brilliantly told, somber, slow burn. Catches you off guard, but it's not like Liz is saying. It's not the one where you want to put it. You want to put it right back in and watch
let's
it
just
again.
pop in The Feast and hang out, guys. No,
you want to see you want a good time. Let's watch this. It's like no.
Now let me tell you. Here is a group of films that we didn't discuss that didn't make the top 100. Probably didn't even make the top 500. That I posit will be back in 2027.
What's that?
I think it's the whole slate of Indonesian horror films that just they're like slowly creeping in, slowly but surely. I mean, sort of in the same way that I think a lot of the J horror did in the 90s and early 2000s. I think Satan's Slaves, I think Impetigore, I think Queen of Black Magic. I mean, these are films that frankly are probably, if you really got down to brass tacks, scarier than anything on my entire top 25 list.
Well, I've got another one here. I Saw the Devil.
Yeah, there you go.
That's Korean.
Yeah, it's
that's Korean, but
but the same kind of a thing. It's like, but it is one
also
of those
as hey guys, you want to come over and just like hang out and have some beers and watch I Saw the Devil? No. Let's watch The Thing again for the 20th time. Okay,
do you want to watch the saddest movie ever?
Ever?
Like, I don't want to redo those moments.
You just have to get through 2.5 hours of the most horrific serial killer torture ever to get to the sadness, but the sadness comes.
Right. Here's a movie that we all liked, but is probably this falls into sort of like The Feast. His House.
Oh yeah.
That was a good one.
Really good movie. A movie that I think will define the moment is Host.
Oh yeah.
And I think that has gotten. I think
Host.
I think sometimes we're going to want to forget the moment. So.
Yeah,
I think Host did get some votes though, for sure. No votes for Host.
The other Host did.
No Host.
The
votes.
Korean.
The Korean monster movie.
2006.
Yeah. Okay.
A movie that actually did very well. And it was a studio release, The Invisible Man. The re-release of The Invisible Man.
So good.
It was really good.
Now, since you posited this question a couple days ago and prompted us to answer this question, movies from 100 to 200 that you were surprised that did not make it. I said, Sleepaway Camp.
Okay.
Which we haven't talked about. Let's Scare Jessica to Death, which you just talked about. Those were the two. Those were the two big ones.
Yeah,
movies.
I said Kill List, Hostel, and The Strangers, the ones on my list that were right at the top and didn't make it.
But movies from 200 to 500 that didn't make the list that I was surprised by. Texas Chainsaw 2,
right?
Because that's pretty damn brilliant.
Yeah.
The Beyond, Leo Fulci,
right?
Which for real horror hounds. That's a movie.
It's a near incomprehensible movie, but yeah.
But for real horror hounds, I mean, people know the Beyond.
Yeah.
Horror fans really know the Beyond.
There's a provenance there,
and then High Tension too. I think that was kind of a big shocker.
Yeah, I think I was surprised that not more love for High Tension because it's about as terrifying an opening hour of a movie that you'll ever see.
Oh yeah.
I have from that group. I said the ones that I was surprised was Tremors.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Predator, especially with Prey just coming back, even though Predator is, these special effects are so bad. And then Attack the Block. I was surprised that was so low. That's a fun fan favorite.
I was, I think my take. I've been a big fan of Pan's Labyrinth, and we had no Guillermo del Toro movies, and he is a self-proclaimed. He was the one who named the Masters of Horror.
I think
he dances on the edge of it.
Yeah,
I didn't have The Orphanage.
No,
I think he.
Oh no, it didn't. It did not make The Orphanage. That's an interesting one.
I think he came in at 350.
Orphanage.
The Orphanage.
Okay.
That's a movie that I legitimately saw.
Yeah.
And then 100% forgot that I saw it until I was 80% of the way through my second watching. I was like, hold on. I think I've seen this movie before.
Okay. I know what's going to happen.
I think Del Toro is
That's probably then why it's not on the top 100 if you didn't make that impression.
Yeah. No, I think Del Toro is a lot like Hitchcock in that he's made a lot of really great films. And they are great films. I don't think they're they're not really scary films.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, his aesthetic is very weird and very macabre.
It's dark fantasy.
Classically horror. Yes, more dark fantasy.
It's more dark fantasy. Yeah. I'm not jumping out of my seat. I'm not trembling. I'm not looking under the stairs as I'm walking up the stairs to go to bed.
The thing that's scary in Pan's Labyrinth is the Franco-esque major who I mean it's like it's a drama. It's dramatic, but it's not terrifying in the same way.
I thought you were going to say monster with eyes in its hand.
Well, no, the monster with the eyes in its hand is just one of the freakiest things you'll ever see.
Yeah.
And the other, I think if I'm scrolling through here looking at this list, Kill List was a surprise that it fell out. It's interesting that Christine is like at 252, which is given our age bracket.
And another one.
Yeah. And Black Sunday, which was on my list the last time, and it fell all the way from on the list to 212.
All right. So what are the movies? Let's get real here. Let's dial in our disdain and contempt and hatred.
Ooh.
What are the films on the list that you say absolutely should not be on the list, Eric?
Hellraiser 2.
Ooh, okay.
That one.
Yeah. Okay.
That one just doesn't. It's not the best of this. I mean, if you're going to do sequels, I mean, we got there are a number of the sequels like the Romero zombie films and Evil Dead 2. Yeah. But really, you have to be and I think I actually respect what Friday the 13th Part 6 did.
Right.
Because it really was peak Jason.
Sure.
Right? But I don't see.
So you say no Hellraiser. Now, have you watched? Because I know you were.
It's been a long time.
I know you were sort of.
Forgotten
you were back and forth between Hellraiser 2 and 3.
Yeah, I mean that tells you. I mean, it was like if it didn't leave a mark where I don't remember, like I just remember a woman running around screaming Christy, and then like monsters chasing her, and it was
sure.
But it
pretty much Hellraiser 2.
It didn't really.
Liz, what about you? What are movies that are on our list?
Zombieland.
Yeah.
Not that funny. I don't understand the love for that. And then also, don't hate me, Joseph. I have pretty much all the David Lynch films.
Sorry, Blue Velvet.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's not my bag. It's so horror, not horror, that I think that things that deserve to be there that are actual horror did not make it.
Right.
I think also if I had a chance to replace a horror comedy, I would take Young Frankenstein and I would knock out The Burbs.
Okay.
Sorry, Liz.
No, it's fine. I love The Burbs. It's not on my list, but I was incredibly surprised that The Burbs was on the list.
Here's what should.
It's a great gateway, though.
Here's what should be stricken.
Okay.
Zombieland, Monster Squad, 7, Misery, and Eraserhead gone.
Wow. 7 stays.
Seven's got to stay. Seven's got to stay.
7 stays.
That's such a bad.
What's in the box? Anytime you get a package or a box, you're yelling what is in the box, it stays.
And Kevin Spacey hasn't aged very well.
No, that was a bit problematic with Kevin Spacey.
Yeah.
Ian, do you have were there anything on the list?
I know I'm in the minority here. Paranormal Activity.
Oh,
that is a movie that succeeded on marketing, people. It is boring with a capital B. I do not understand the love for that movie.
I don't think we're allowing new construction in Terrortown. Weird. Where's Ian gonna live?
Yeah. Clearly, you didn't watch the alternate ending because if you watch the alternate ending on the extended Blu-ray copy, you would have a very, very different opinion of Paranormal Activity.
But does the first 90 minutes change at all? That's the product I have a problem with. I liked the ending where she gets dragged away. That was a great 5 seconds.
Yeah, there's a lot of waiting for things to happen in Paranormal Activity. But then you get that big sub-bass rumble. There was I admire what in a similar way to Blair Witch, but not as strongly as the Blair Witch, about how they managed to take this micro budget idea and do it. I don't like the trends that it inspired people just to go cheap ass and and use the cover of found footage on not giving us good production values, because there is value in good production values in a movie. I think that you can, on occasion, you can do the Blair Witch thing, but for every Blair Witch, you get 500 grave encounters.
Right.
Right. Like, come on. If you want something like that, watch Session 9.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
which is not found footage.
No, it's a superior ghosty movie. About people sort of running into it but there's no the other ones. It's so formula. But I can't. I like Paranormal Activity.
Me too.
But that is Ian's hot take.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see. So what else? So what do you think? Okay. So when we convene back in 5 years to do this again.
Yeah.
How do you think? Because I think we found some flaws with some of the selections, but by and large, I think we've got a really good list. I think that if we roll this out, I'm proud to say that this is something that we can tell our fans to go check out. It's like, if you want to know what you should watch for the Halloween movie binge, run through our list, and if there's something that you haven't seen, pull something from our list. We think you're gonna have a good time.
Now, here's a provocative question for you: did you like, fundamentally, just top to bottom, the 27? Now, I'm not talking about the process or the podcasting element. Just top to bottom. Did you like the original 2017 list better, or did you like the 2022 list better? Like, which of those lists would you go through and go, oh, okay, I identify closer to that list? Liz.
Off the top of my head, not having really reviewed the 2017 list, but since what we were talking about is just below, I'm probably going to say
2017.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But add St. Maud because it hadn't come out.
I mean, we really didn't change.
The top 20 kind of stayed about the same.
Yeah.
And then,
but we lost some real throwaways. Like we lost Spooky Encounters, which was one that wasn't mentioned. It was
would we trade that for Monster Squad?
Yeah. Well, Monster Squad was on the Monster Squad was on the previous one. It was one of the ones that stayed put. It had
we lost Race to
that's right.
Race
It
with
stayed
the
in the
Devil.
same spot.
I could live without Race with the Devil.
I'd say both. I don't know.
Fonda?
That's a good question.
No, I mean compared to like, what are you gonna? I mean, apart from saying Monster Squad, or
Race with the Devil definitely over Monster Squad.
I don't know. I think Race with the Devil is a good movie. It's not, but I know that. But Mike, Mike is showing his grindhouse tendencies here.
Here's what I'll say, Mike. Yeah. I feel like I like the new movies on the 2022 list more than the ones that dropped off of the 2018 list, because some real good ones.
2018, thank you. Yeah,
yes,
not 2017.
Some real good ones new to the list. This, Midsummer.
Yep.
Frailty.
Yep.
The Mist.
Yep. Mm-hmm. All great films.
House of the Devil.
Yep.
Inside. Eyes Without a Face.
Like Eyes Without a Face, yeah.
Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. Somehow not on the list last time around, right?
I know.
Bram Stoker's Dracula. Carrie. Misery. The Sixth Sense. Some of those movies have aged better than others.
Sure.
But I like those movies a lot more than I like Satan's Triangle, Spooky Encounters, Race with the Devil.
Yeah.
No, I think it's a stronger list. I think it's maybe a little less eccentric.
You're which 2018 or 2022?
I like the current one.
Okay,
our new one.
You think it's a stronger list?
I think if we're gonna go out and say pick anything from any point on this list and you're going to enjoy the movie. I think we've got a pretty strong roster. I've got my grudges. I mean, I'm really disappointed that Raw fell off the list.
Sure.
No other back. I mean, that's still, even though I moved it up, it's like it still couldn't make it. And I'm sure that for the Strangers for Liz, but I think it's I do like the process because I also like the fact that we actually had more professionals this time.
Sure.
So that this was the people who make movies for a living. We had a lot more than I originally had been describing of the amount of professionals on our list. If I just count our directors, we had like 15 directors, right? And then there was an actor who was a contact of yours, John Ryan Howard, who was in Beyond the Woods, which was a movie that you reacted to, and I think that you contacted him through Instagram or something like that. He participated, and just getting those kinds of folks in here makes me feel like it's a better curation.
Okay.
I'm
provocative question number 2. Have you seen all of the top 100 films on our list?
No.
Which ones have you not seen?
Noroi.
Yeah, that's the one. I hadn't even heard of that until I did this list.
I actually saw that one. Okay.
Hold on. Let me go. I've got to go back to the list here.
Yeah, I'd have to look at the list.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's a handful on there I haven't seen.
I think the only one I haven't seen is Interior.
L'Intérieur.
Yeah, that's
Christmas is coming, Mike.
I know. It's just around the corner.
It's a Christmas film.
That's what everyone says. Everyone says that.
Yep.
Everyone says,
It's a Christmas movie. And then you can it's a Christmas movie in the same way Die Hard's a Christmas movie.
Full admission, I haven't seen Houseu yet.
What?
I've seen snippets of Houseu, but I haven't watched it yet.
Good news, Eric. Not only can you now watch it on Blu-ray, but first time ever they're releasing the soundtrack on vinyl.
Oh,
coming to a record store near you very, very soon.
Yeah. So
no Houseu, no Interior, no Noroi. What else you got?
I have not seen
the list right here.
Honestly, I haven't seen Bram Stoker's Dracula.
What?
Really?
Nope.
Oh.
What?
I haven't seen Curse of the Demon.
Okay.
Now, that makes sense because
80.
it's before 1980.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Have you, Mike? Have you seen Under the Skin?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Didn't care
Was
for
that
it.
on our list?
Didn't
Oh,
care for
I
it.
would,
Wasn't-
I would
it
boot
wasn't-
that off.
I
It was
thought
Yeah, you're right.
86.
So number
I thought
86.
I thought it was more sci-fi than horror, and I thought it
Mhm.
was like pretty so-so.
Liz, have you seen The Haunting 1963?
Yes, I have seen that.
Okay.
So I think the only ones in our top 100 I haven't seen is Noroi and
You've seen The Changeling?
what I just said, Curse of the Demon. Sure. George C. Scott.
Yeah.
And the Red Ball.
Yeah, The Red Ball.
Yep.
I'm
Okay,
looking
so
through here.
what were some of the movies from the top 500 that you had never heard of?
Oh God, I just listed
Oh,
all
there
those.
was tons.
Yeah.
Like never heard of. Like not even. Like not
Starting at the bottom, I just wrote down 3 because I was like, well, I can't just sit here writing one. There was one like The Nameless, Dr. Blood's Coffin,
Yep.
The Mill of Stone Women or something. I was like, I've never heard of any
C'est
of these.
arrivé
So
près de chez vous. I don't know what it is.
something at your house.
Yeah.
The
Cairo, have you ever heard of Cairo?
Can you spell it?
Kairo.
Yes, because it's a Japanese horror movie and it translates to, is it The Curse?
No, it translates to
hang
something
on.
else. Yeah, I looked that one up
It's
as well.
Pulse. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
Pulse.
okay.
That's
So
Pulse,
okay, I've
yeah.
heard of
Yeah.
Pulse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you heard of Perfect Blue?
No,
Yes, that's animation.
Oh, okay.
I had never heard of the Trollenberg Terror from 1958.
Never heard of that.
White Coffin from 2016, The Black Forest from 2018, Sweetie, You Won't Believe It, and Dr. Blood's Coffin from 1961. All the other ones I'm pretty sure I'd heard of.
Amata Negra.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
No, there was like
That's The
a
Black
good amount
Forest.
where I was like, what?
I'm intrigued by Dr. Blood's Coffin.
I know.
I
I
wanna
think
look
we'll have to
that
do
up.
that one, huh?
1961.
Blood's Coffin.
1961.
Oddly enough, there's a movie called Madman.
Not Madman.
Madman.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never heard of Madman.
Madman. Maybe I haven't
No.
heard that one
There's
either.
one. Have you heard of Play Dead?
Yeah.
Not familiar with Play Dead. Oh,
I
here's
feel like I need to Google them all, and when I see the poster, I'll know if I've heard of it or not because I'll recognize it.
here's one that
Right.
was actually a cool, literally a cool one that I didn't know about before. We had to do. I forget what it was, but Wind Chill.
Oh, I heard of that.
Oh,
I
yeah,
think
yeah,
it was
yeah.
like a picture of the
I
poster.
I talked about it on we
Yeah,
did a
yeah.
podcast, and
Yeah,
it was a woman on a road trip with a guy, and they get stuck in the snow and get stranded, and then they start seeing weird shit.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
Another one that I'm really glad to see that actually made the list,
Mm-hmm.
like on my deep cut kind of things. Contracted. You haven't seen Contracted yet, have you?
I don't think so. I've heard of it though.
It's like venereal disease horror.
right. Right.
It's like
Feed
it is
these
really. It's like.
That will not, for our listeners out there, that will not be an upcoming episode.
no.
But it did. I think it was on one of. I think I talked about it before on another one of our. Because I know that the actress went on to be. She was on what's the hairdresser, the killer hairdresser movie that just came out last year. Liz,
The Stylist.
The
Stylist.
stylist.
Same actress
yeah.
was in The Stylist.
Oh, okay.
It's
Oh, C'est arrivé près de chez vous is Man Bites Dog.
Oh yeah. Right. Yeah. And
So you've heard of that.
Yeah, I've seen Man Bites Dog, and it is
Mhm.
it is a brutal bit of business, and
Yep.
it's not a horror film, but it is super brutal.
Agreed.
here's one for one of Liz's favorites. Repo the Genetic Opera got some votes.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of something called Abnormal Beauty?
No.
Yeah, that one's.
Yeah, so I think we need to put the whole shebang up on the
yeah,
website.
what we're gonna have to do is we're just gonna have to go. Like, here's Elephant. You know Elephant?
I never forget Elephant.
That's like that Gus Van Sant one, right? About like a
Mike's
school
kinda
shooting?
sees-
Oh, it is. It is the one about the school shooting. Yeah, that is called. Yeah, it is the Gus Van Sant.
Okay, so
film.
it has nothing to do with an elephant.
all shot in
like-
Portland.
No,
And-
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's worth
I don't think I
noting
saw it.
that every film that was submitted made it onto this top 516 list,
Yes.
whether or not
It
it
was
was
a horror movie.
actually a horror.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
for
yeah.
example, our a college buddy of Mike and mine, Jared Carlson, put in Forrest
Forrest
Gump.
Gump.
Yep.
I think
So-
I may have. I think I may have the DVD of Abnormal Beauty. It's a Pang Brothers film.
Oh, okay.
from 2004. I'll have to look through my.
Is The Fourth Kind one of the movies, the UFO movies that you did, Mike?
Yeah, Mike talked about that one.
Yep. With Mila.
So I think I'm just going to start. If I need to know what to watch.
Yep.
I'm starting at the bottom.
I've never heard of
this list.
Heck yeah.
I've never heard of Marrowbone.
Just.
Oh, I saw that. It's okay.
Just chip away.
Oh,
chip
here's
away.
a surprise. Slither only got 2 points.
No.
One person put Slither as their number 24 movie, and that was it.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
All right, so before we get out of here, let's since we're not going to sit and read 515 movies to people. Let's go around, talk about our biggest delight and our biggest disappointment in the list. Eric,
I was really happy that The Creature from the Black Lagoon finished as high as it did, because that's an old movie with a guy in a rubber suit, but it is still one of my absolute favorites, and there's a lot of other people out there who believe in it too.
Yep. Biggest disappointment.
Raw.
That Raw did not make it.
Raw just missed the cut.
Yep. Ian.
Oh, super delighted to see Frailty make the list.
Yep.
Criminally underrated film.
Yep.
And
agreed.
Very disappointed that we still can't get Dracula 1930.
Dracula's coming back in 2027. All right, Liz.
Okay, I actually have one that's not on my list. Is one of that I was glad to see. It was Autopsy of Jane Doe. I forgot how good that was. I rewatched it and I was like, boy, that is a great freaking film.
Yep,
freaky
movie.
movie.
Happy to see that very freaky movie. And my biggest disappointment is going to be The Strangers or Kill List.
Yeah.
Just like Eric with Raw, it's right there. Like, what could we have done to bump it right up?
I forgot to pay Ian enough money to.
I know. Huh?
Come on, man. Just get it. Just put it at 100. Mike?
My most pleasant surprise was Return of the Living Dead, because I think that is a great horror comedy and a great zombie film. And Dan O'Bannon really knocked it out of the park with that. Not only just in the film, but the soundtrack is absolutely incredible. And then the biggest regret dropping off the list is Black Christmas, because that, man, and I think it dropped quite a ways off the list, didn't it? Black Christmas. I can't remember.
Well, here's the thing: is that she used to be Sharon Yeblon's number one,
right,
and then she decided to go a completely different direction.
I know.
And then without that big 25-point support, it fell off a cliff.
I know.
So fell to number 116.
Not too far. Close.
It was close. It was close.
But I don't think even if Sharon included it, would have gotten on the list.
But it was number 63.
Yeah,
it fell.
Wow.
So it fell about 55 spots.
Yeah, that's a big drop. All right, so what is the best tagline to take us out of here tonight on our retrospective tour of the top 100 list?
Sounds like Mike's got an idea.
I don't.
I do. You're gonna hate it, but I get to do it.
Okay.
Sleep all day, party all night, never grow old, never die. It's fun to be a vampire.
All right.
Boss boy.
Thank you, Liz.